Hello. My name is Virginia Bode, and this is videobeaux. This is the fever program mode. The source video will look like you have fever dreams and delusions. It's okay though, no real medical fever. It's a synthesis. I hope you enjoy it. Try it out today.
Hello and welcome to DLTV. My name is Robert Heron.
And I'm Jason Cross.
How's everybody doing? I hope they're doing good. I really do. Got my TV converter box coupons came in the mail finally.
I'm not even going to use them.
I'm not. I'm going to open it yet. I'll at least open the envelope though to see what they look like. I know a lot of people have been anticipating the DTV 2000 transition. And what do you get? Aha! You will get something like this in the mail if you go onto the DTV2009.org or .gov website. Fill out their converter box coupon thing, and you get 2 credit card looking deals. And that's it. That's all I wanted to show. Just that I finally got mine in the mail. But like you said, I'm probably not going to use these because all my TVs are digital already. So actually, my one TV.
And you get cable and stuff anyway.
That too. And I'm not going to just buy it to have hardware laying around that I'm not using. However, if I don't use these, they do go back into circulation for other people to use.
You can't double them up, can you? You can't use 2 to get 1 converter box or something.
I believe not. However, I have seen converter boxes now selling for that magical $40. So
oh, good. Well,
they're going to get cheaper, and they should get cheaper as more are manufactured by more companies.
Yeah.
Anywho, on today's show we have Grand Theft Auto 4. There's a week killer. I think next week's just going to be very quiet.
I think there are a lot of people will be mysteriously sick next week.
And apparently it's already been cracked and dumped to the internet for various platforms too. So all you nefarious pirate folks out there, you've probably already planned it.
Yeah, buy it.
I'm telling you, you got to buy that one. Also, the Miros OSD. I'm not even going to tell you what that is. We'll just show it to you in a little bit. And of course, a folding at home update. We hit the magical number 10, and we have some good stuff to talk about as well. And of course, more like your viewer tech picks, questions, and so forth. How about a viewer tech pick though, just to get it all rolling?
Yeah, let's get started.
Yeah. This week's tech pick comes to us from Greg of Cold Spring Harbor, New York. And, well, it's not really a super tech pick in terms of technology, but take a look at the download speed Mr. Greg is getting. That's 9.73 megabytes per second. Not
capital B.
That's capital B action right there. That's a lot of megabytes. That's a lot of megabits. You times that by 8 to get your megabit. So 9 times 8, 72.
That's almost 10 megabytes, so that's almost 80 megabits.
He's claiming he has, let's see, he was using a download program to download multiple files at once, but just to show off his throughput on his campus. He doesn't say what campus he's on, unfortunately, but apparently he has a 100 megabit up and down connection to his room or wherever he's using the internet. And from there, the campus network is then connected via a 10 gigabit line that goes to the rest of the community out there. And I just have to say that we should all have such awesome download speeds like that. 100 megabit connection.
In other words, everybody in Japan is exactly like this already. This is.
Is it really?
Yeah. Most of Japan people have 100 megabit up and down.
That's about
urban Japan, which
is about 5 full high quality, the best quality you can do over broadcast HDTV. It's like 5 simultaneous streams, just about. And that's yowza. That's nice. Anyway.
Maybe DOCSIS 3.0, maybe
some new cable modem action, maybe
in another year or 2.
Where's fiber? Where's fiber to my door here in
the
West Coast?
What is it, Verizon? Yeah, working on it.
Verizon. There's a lot of people on the East Coast, who seem to love it. So I'm hoping it just makes its way out everywhere soon. So anyway, faster internet is a good internet. And Greg, thank you for sharing that tech photo. Please don't forget to send us your tech pics to dl.tv@zipdavis.com with the word tech pick in the subject line so we know what the heck it is. And if you could, please host that photo somewhere and just send us a link to it. Saves us all a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, don't send us your uncompressed bitmaps of 10 megapixels.
Of course, I give the suggestion, but of course somebody will send you like a 9 megabyte photo or attachment or something, and that's cool too, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of waiting on my end. Anyway. I think we're going to do the Grand Theft Auto 4 check-in right now. Actually, Crispin Boyer, he's the senior executive editor of the One Up Network. He joined Scott to talk about not only Rockstar's latest episode in the Grand Theft Auto series.
This is where I close my eyes and plug my ears and just don't.
I don't want to know.
No, I want to play the game and have no. Oh, spoiler-free. All right, good. This is spoiler-free, we are told, so you can watch it safely. Today we have a game that really needs no introduction. It's one of the most popular and controversial game titles ever to hit consoles. Joining me today is Crispin Boyer. He's the senior executive editor for the One Up Network. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay, for those that might have been under the proverbial rock, the Grand Theft Auto franchise is what?
It's basically an adult toolkit. There was Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto 2, which was a top-down 2D game, a fun little game where you went around and you stole cars and you went on crime sprees and you worked for the mob, and it was fun. But then they came out with Grand Theft Auto 3, which was the first 3D take on it, and this game gave you a city called Liberty City, had some loose missions. You went through kind of this like Godfather, Sopranos story and did different crime missions for different families. But mostly the whole game was just exploring the city, because you can go steal any car you want. You can go run over people. You can go steal a taxi cab and go on taxi missions to pick up people. It was just like almost, there's been no game before this that gave you this much freedom to kind of do your own thing.
So for the fourth installment, where's the story set and what's the storyline this time?
Well, Grand Theft Auto 4 kind of goes back to what was in Grand Theft Auto 3. The setting in is Liberty City, the same city from that game, except now you're on the current gen systems, which is the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. So the fidelity of the environment is it's just through the roof. Like the graphics, the city itself looks so amazing. It's roughly based on New York City. So it has 5 boroughs that roughly are based on the real boroughs of New York City. So there's like a Brooklyn, there's Manhattan. This game looks and feels like you're in a real city.
Now, for Grand Theft Auto 4, what's going to set really outside of the scenery and everything is what's it really going to set apart? How's the gameplay different from previous versions?
Everything, it's kind of hard to explain it. Everything just feels more integrated into the whole experience. So say, I told you in Grand Theft Auto 3, you can go on taxi missions by stealing a taxi cab. And then it said, press X to go on taxi missions. So you do that. Now, if you steal a cab, you have a cousin in the game who runs a taxi dispatch service. So you call him on your phone. Your phone in the game is very important. You call him on the phone, and then he sends you out to pick people up. But in this game, too, a big part of it is relationships. You meet all these people in the game. So you're maintaining these relationships, and if you keep them up in the game, they will start doing things for you. So that you can date a nurse, for instance, and if you date her long enough, wine and dine her, eventually she'll give you medical advice over the phone, so your health comes back up. There's an internet in the game. The internet cafe is called TW @ symbol, so I'll let you figure out what that spells out, because they got that kind of toilet unit. There's so much stuff to explore just indoors, like sitting at a computer terminal. There's billboards for TV shows called America's Next Top Hooker.
Now, on the potty humor and things to explore, Easter eggs this time?
What would you be talking about?
Oh, hot coffee.
Hot coffee, yeah. They do allude to hot coffee. So hot coffee was a sex mini game that was never supposed to be part of GTA San Andreas. It was actually just left on the disc. A hacker found it and had a code so people can access it. This game, GTA 4, doesn't have a sex mini game, but it does make fun of the hot coffee incident. You get an achievement in the 360 version called warm coffee, and you get that for basically scoring with your date. But instead of a sex mini game, the dates themselves have a certain payoff, and I don't want to spoil what it is because it's really funny. But
I would prefer that you did.
It is interesting.
Now you've mentioned 360 and coming into this. Before it was all Sony. How are they able to pull both off this time?
It's a big feather in Microsoft's cap to have this first time a GTA game released simultaneously for 2 systems. I think a lot of it came down to the PS3 was very slow out of the gate getting a lot of people to buy it. Rockstar Games saw that and they're like, well, this game's $40 million game. We're not going to release it on a system that not enough people are going to buy it to make it worth their while. So that's one aspect. They're like, let's do it on the PS3 and 360 simultaneously. Microsoft discloses they paid some money to lock down some bonus content for their game, which will come in the form of downloadable episodes that'll start hitting this fall.
Now, does Grand Theft Auto 4 live up to the franchise? And it sounds like you're going to say people should buy this game.
I think it lives up to the franchise. It scales back a little bit on some of the silly toys that were in the last game. Like, you know, people really liked the San Andreas installment because of things like the jetpack or the nitro boosting your cars or things like that. Or you had a parachute like so you could base jump off buildings. That was fun. This doesn't have those, which for me was kind of a disappointment because I understand they're trying to make the series more serious, but at the same time, it's a game where you can steal a helicopter and pick up your date. You know, that's pretty silly. So why not just go a full distance and give people, you know, jetpacks and parachutes? But the story itself is really good. It's really well told. It has a really likable main character. There's actually branching tasks that can happen depending on who lives and who dies. It's just such a engrossing and really alive world that, yeah, I think it totally lives up to the franchise's history.
Cool. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Yep, sure. That's Grand Theft Auto 4. It's by Rockstar Games. It's $60 for both the PS3 and 360. It's out on April 29th. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Nice. I want GTA 4. So we got SWAT action. We have drunk driving and guns.
Yeah. and internet. And internet. Like, how you can go on the internet on your internet-connected console. It's like the internet within an internet.
Really?
No.
I'm gullible. I see more money being spent on console gaming real soon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm planning a weekend, I think. A long weekend for this. Anyway. After the break, we're going to jump into the Neuros OSD. We're going to tell you what that's all about. Please do stick around.
Looking for a gadget guide? Please log on to gearlog.com now. Gearlog's got tech news and reviews, roller skating robots, iPod toilet paper holders, and hacker-proof passport wallets. Gearlog.com, the gadget log for geeks by geeks. You dig it?
This ought to be good.
You know, life is full of .com moments. And at GoDaddy, you can get your .com name for just $1.99. It comes with free quick logs, free hosting with website builder, free email account, expert 24/7 service, and so much more. If you ask me, that's a .com name for everything.
Just go to GoDaddy.com.
What's yours?
Plus, as a DLTV viewer, you can enter the code DLTV when you check out, and you'll save an additional 10% on any order. This does not apply to renewal products, discounted, or bulk domain names. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Just like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Yeah. Anyway. I like doing your NASCAR. I love my NASCAR. And Dale has sponsorship from them, at least for the Nationwide Series. Off topic. Anyway. Sam Arbizo, he's our assistant producer, super producer here at DLTV, and he has spent some quality time with a pretty interesting product, a Linux-based media center style device called the Neuros OSD. And I think we're going to take a look at that right now.
The Neuros OSD is a digital media center that allows you to record and play back a variety of video formats. It's got no internal memory, but it does allow you to use just about any form of memory. It also has a music player, lets you play MP3s and some other odd formats that you don't normally see. And it also has a component that allows you to browse YouTube, just in case you get bored with all your own stuff. The Neuros OSD open source device is based on the Linux operating system, and because of that, you're encouraged to tweak away to your heart's content. The Neuros is incredibly easy to set up. Simply open the box, plug in the power, video in and out, the network plug, and it's ready to go. The Neuros has no internal storage, but accepts nearly any storage media, including USB thumb drives, USB hard drives, SD cards, memory sticks, and compact flash and micro drives. The first thing you should do is update the firmware, which is easy to do. Just access it through the menu and sit back and wait. The Neuros supports a variety of video formats, including VGA 640 by 480, NTSC 720 by 480, Sony PSP, and iPod format. The video can be encoded as MP4, ASF, AVI, and QuickTime H.264. The Neuros is a great way to record video from TV or your cable and convert it for later consumption on your iPod or PSP. Using the included IR blaster, the Neuros can control the TV or tuner, so you can schedule recordings of shows on any channel. The Neuros OSD overall seems to be a great device. It's easy to use, easy to set up, pretty intuitive. The menu systems are nice. The controller is nice. It allows you to use a wide range of video compression options, so you can record for your iPod or your PSP and watch your video later. The one big drawback I did see was the lack of HD support, but considering the price at $180, it's a pretty good deal for the most part. I'm Sam Arbizo, assistant producer for DLTV, and there you have it.
I'm curious, Sam, did it have widescreen support? Sam's in the back.
Yeah, not that I saw directly, but on that TV behind you, it works fine.
Okay. So apparently it's some kind of widescreen support, and it looks pretty good on the HD TV as well. But you know, I like it because it had FLAC support, which is a lossless audio codec that I've re-encoded all of my CD audio discs into, and it would be nice just to hook that up on my network and be able to stream that. There's all those free. Any open source format, it should be able to support in the code.
Yeah.
But I believe it's using an ARM-based processor, so when you get into some of the heavy-duty compressed formats, it might not. That's probably why you're not going to see support for, you know,
64
or high-def resolution or things like that.
Yep.
Sweet. And anyway, speaking of Xenuros OSD, once we've worked it out with our legal department, we will be relax. It does. I have no patience. We will be giving away the great Neuros OSD. So do stay tuned for that.
This very one, I think.
Oh wait, what did I do with the box? I'll show you a box.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's pretty.
Yep, it is.
This is it.
It's convenient,
There you go.
power efficient, and you know, there you go. And we'll get that given away. We'll come up with some cool way to get you guys to communicate with us and send us your info so we can use it on the show like we like to do. There we go. Neuros, a box full of stuff.
Excellent.
All right, we have a viewer question.
Yeah, let's move on to the viewer question.
Do it. What is this viewer question? You want to read it, man?
Yeah. All right. This is from Chris of Winter Springs, Florida. He says, here in Florida, the frequent summer rainstorms are so large that they easily block satellite TV reception. Do you have any suggestions on how to overcome this line of sight problem? I heard that if you ask really nicely, you can get a 24-inch dish for slightly better reception. I haven't seen a lot of larger dishes. I mean, and from what I know, there's not a lot you can do about a real line of sight problem. If you have a tree branch blocking the way, or the storms are blowing a tree branch in the way, or something like that, you got to cut that tree branch. But what might be happening is the storms come, and if your dish isn't really bolted down really good, the winds might be making the dish wobble a little bit, and then that's, you know, that's what your reception.
When they do the setup, they actually perform an alignment to the whatever satellites need to be hit and targeted, and they spend a bit of time, at least if the installer's any good, they'll spend a bit of time getting that dialed in just right. And if it ever moves out of alignment, like when it's raining, it's not necessarily raining usually, but if the wind causes that dish to wobble at all, that can cause interruption of the signal, and, you know, that's the line of sight problem that it could be.
Now, thunderstorm clouds, because they're so thick and have a lot of moisture, they can mess up reception just going through it, and there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, I guess you could get a really big dish if you had a more powerful high-gain antenna and an amplifier and stuff like that. I don't know if they're even going to ever hook you up with stuff like that. There's not a lot you can do. But I would get an installer to come out and check, and just to make sure your dish is really bolted down good, it's really aligned properly to the signal, that might solve it.
The last install I did was we ended up sinking the pole into the ground away from the house, and we embedded it in a wad of concrete. Like poured a yard of concrete to make sure that thing was not going to move at all, no matter how windy it got. However, 2 weeks later, a tree branch ended up swinging down in front of the dish, and it blocked the reception, so we had to get the tree trimmer out there to take care of that. But that was actually in Florida, of all places, too, where I was out visiting some friends and family. I was checking that out. But I'm not sure if the larger dish, the only one I've seen really is the HD version of the dish that's designed for hitting multiple satellites at once. So
and I don't know that that's better reception so much as just multiple satellites.
Yeah, I don't know if that would apply to somebody using a standard depth setup or not. That would be a question you'd have to pose to an installer.
Yeah, you're going to have to call your company, tell them exactly what your problem is, and see if they can't fix you. And if they give you any grief about it, the first thing you got to do is say, well, I guess I'm going to have to go with cable or something like that, and they will bend over backwards to help you. So just threaten to go with a competitor. It works every time.
That is an awesome tip, by the way. It's pretty good. Okay, one more question from Jay of Cameron, North Carolina. Jay up there. He says, hey, my parents have a rear projection TV with a little burn-in from watching too much QVC, a little screen burn-in. Have you heard of the Pixel Protector DVD? And what do you recommend for a DIY repair kit if one exists? I have not looked specifically at the Pixel Protector DVD, but I did take a look at the website to see what the heck it is that they're claiming.
It's actually kind of funny.
Is it doing? And I got to call bunk on this one. Without even buying this product, I'll tell you right now that what they show in this graphic is some obvious burn-in left in up in a corner of an image. This is probably impossible to see given the compression of the signal that we're doing on this end. And they show some burn-in clearly on this actress's eye above there that was left over from something that was left on the screen for way too long. There you go. That little white part was something that's supposedly some burn-in on the screen.
Like the QVC symbol that's like always up there.
From this, is that what it is? I never watched QVC, so I have no idea what the QVC logo should be. And then right next to it, they have, you know, to this, and it says, quote unquote, it apparently removes it. Are they even showing the same part? I guess they are. Okay, regardless, they're with phosphor-based TVs or anything that uses
like
phosphor.
CRT, yeah.
CRTs, and in this case, it's a rear projection TV using 3 CRT tubes firing up the screen.
Oh, yeah.
The plasmas are also phosphor-based, CRTs, and rear projection TVs, like we mentioned. Anytime you have uneven phosphor wear, you get, that's what burn-in is, really, and it causes the unevenness in the picture. A DVD is not going to fix that.
No.
It won't. You will simply either wear the entire screen evenly to the point you might not notice it as much.
Yeah.
Or
the only thing you can really do is if you know exactly what the burn-in is, you know, then you can, and we're somehow able to play the inverse image. You might be able to wear everything back evenly to where it's not, but there's no way a DVD can do that. You can't make a DVD that knows exactly what your personal burn-in is. So
I have seen HD TVs, newer HD TVs, that do provide various ways of dealing with permanent image retention like that.
Yeah.
One of them did include an actual inverse image. So if you could figure out what that frame was that was locked on there, put it back up on the screen again, and then hit the inverse button, boom, it would give you the opposite of it. So everything that was bright would become dark, everything that was dark would become bright, and it would help, you know, wear the TV in the opposite way to try to get everything to even out again. And either the box on the way. And so let me just say no. On this TV, it sounds like it's probably an older model of a rear projection TV and CRT-based, the phosphor-based materials. You're not going to be able to fix it with a DVD. However, I do suggest, you know, perhaps proper setup would at least minimize how
distracting it is.
How distracting it would be. And I can look forward when I'm doing this. I guess I could. But one of my favorite setup discs that you can turn to is from Joe Kane Productions. They do a series of great discs. If you happen to have a Blu-ray player or an HD DVD player, the new DVE HD Basics discs that you see here on the side, those are 2 phenomenal discs that provide tons of terrific info as well as great setup patterns for dealing with your basic TV controls like contrast, color, brightness, tint. Your big ones being the contrast setting or the picture setting and the brightness and or black level setting. Getting those 2 right can really prolong the life of your TV, especially for phosphor-based TVs, display units like that. And it also just provides a wealth of information. So any questions you have about basic HD TV and home theater, it's covered in there, and it provides some good tools as well in terms of getting that picture looking right. And it might actually minimize the obviousness of that, or it will help prevent any future, if you're going to leave the static image on the screen for a long time, and if the TV's dialed in properly, it's probably not going to be so bright and affect the picture as much.
That site is videoessentials.com.
Yeah, they also have a standard def version too that's actually included on the HD DVD version, which is, you know, a defunct format.
Yeah.
But there's also a standard def version as well. You can usually get those bundled together too if you have a high def and standard def setup. And you get a good price.
This is on like Amazon stuff.
Yeah, anywhere you can get DVDs online, you'll be able to find those. And so I think that's a good way to go. Just ensure the TV's set up properly, and that'll help at least something.
The THX setup things on some of the discs is good too.
True. Yeah, that's always a good thing to remind. You might already have a DVD laying around that has been THX certified and contains that optimizer tool that THX created. That will do a very similar job. It provides similar setup patterns for dealing with brightness and contrast settings and getting those dialed in just right. So something else you can try. Most definitely. All right. Folding and holding.
Yeah. Very exciting.
This is cool. Let me just bring up, where are we here? Here we are, the overall team rankings. Number 10, people.
That's right.
I just have to say thanks to everyone. We've had a lot of people writing in recently talking about not only they're contributing to the project, but also, you know, some basic hardware questions as well. And with the recent release of the GPU, an updated GPU client for the Folding at Home project,
called GPU 2.
GPU 2.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more people going along. And actually, I had some questions about, a couple of questions we had revolved around, should you use the GPU version versus, say, the CPU version?
Right.
And because they're doing, you get different scores depending on which hardware you're using to fold with.
I just did an article on this because the GPU2 client is brand new. It's a new version that doesn't go through DirectX and supports a lot more cards. It supports everything from, this is an ATI 2600 card. It's very low end. This thing's cheap as dirt now. You can get it like in boxes of Cheerios and stuff. It's so cheap. So everything from this up to the big guy, the Radeon HD 3870.
Monster card.
It actually even supports the 3870 X2, which is the one with two graphics chips on it, but only one of them works.
Gotcha.
And it does all the folding calculations on here. It actually gives you a lot more gigaflops if you use like one of these cards than a PS3 does. So, but it does similar sort of science. You were asking, which should I run? Should I run the CPU client, the new SMP CPU client, or the PS3 client? Or
I have a quad-core box in the lab that I typically run the SMP, the multi-core version of the GPU, or the folding at home client on.
Yeah.
But it also has an ATI graphics card or an AMD graphics card in it as well. And I'm like, well, I go back and forth going, which one would give me most bang for the buck? The first question I have is, can I run both at once?
You can't. You really shouldn't run both at once. There's really no technical reason you couldn't install the different directories and do it. But even the GPU client has a lot of CPU overhead, so you're really not. It's really probably not a good idea. They treat the science differently on the different clients. They're doing different science, so that they're not exactly comparable. The CPU
compared to the CPU, the PS3,
CPU client,
graphics cards.
Yeah, the CPU client treats water molecules as an entire entity, an entire water molecule entity.
Gotcha.
The PS3 and the GPU clients treat a water molecule as a continuous function. It's different ways of analyzing molecule reactions with each other and the protein folding. It's different science. They need to know both of these things, so they need people running both of these clients, but you can't compare the data directly from each of them and the work you're doing directly from each of them. So if all you're trying to do is get the most points per day,
That's exactly what I want.
A fast multi-core CPU running the SMP client, the multi-threaded client, will give you the most points per day. If you want to do the most gigaflops, of work, then you want to run the PS3 or the new GPU2 client with one of these.
Want to redline it, regardless of.
Unfortunately, by the way, I should mention they don't support NVIDIA cards yet on the thing. They want to. They're looking into it. It's just not something they're. The way you interact with NVIDIA cards with their CUDA language is different than what AMD cards.
Is there any technical reason why the latest generation of NVIDIA cards couldn't be operating on the folding at home project?
Don't think so. I think it's just a programming thing of they've got to get,
and manpower devoted to
doing it. It's still in beta, the new GPU2 client, so they got to work some of that stuff out. And their hope is to get it running on as many appropriate things as possible and get as many folders as possible. So join our team. What's our team number?
57391.
Yeah, 57391.
It really is.
Join our team. Fold like crazy.
Check out Jason's article on extremetech.com too for more deets about the GPU2 client.
Yeah. And a little interview with Vijay Panda, who's the director over there, talking about science
Professor
and all this stuff.
He's awesome.
Yeah, answering all these questions.
It's great. It's got a cool lab too.
And folding's good. We learn about how protein folding happens and can cure Alzheimer's and all that other cancer.
I will probably need help in all of those areas eventually.
Yeah, you're going to get all those at once.
All at once, man. I feel it coming. Karma's going to get me. Anyway, hey, this is the end of the show, and I want to thank everybody for watching.
End of the show.
It is. It's been a great day, by the way. I'm just going to say that for no particular reason.
Anyway, you've had one of those 5-hour energy boosters this morning.
No, I did not. I laid off of them. It did something to my stomach earlier in the week, and it's just, I'm still recovering from it. But dang, is that a good rush, though. Anyway, I've got to go crawl back into my lab, and until next week, thank everybody for watching, and please come back and keep folding with us. And until then, take care.